title slide is, this is a workshop we did in Tulama, and it was attended by these people. Many of them from military backgrounds, business community, actual farmers, black farmers, West Mississippi white farmers. I think even Abadu Chandra's hiding.
Yeah,
He's back there. Choctaw Indian. In other words, this for me was, when I say that the petri dish for Varnashram is this kind of gatherings of people and then helping them become Krishna conscious. That's what I mean. And so they took prasadam, they heard the holy name, many of them toured the temple, and they saw beautiful production in their fields. It was fantastic. Okay, next slide. That just shows where we were doing this, just north of New Orleans. Go ahead. That's the actual production fields right there. There were 6 acres with a fence around it, and we had it beautifully organized. A lot of challenges because it's in the south and the soils are not so good. Go ahead, next. We're addressing 2 fundamental human impulses, the need to eat and the need to defend against bodily harm, ill health. The revolutionary act of achieving food independence, to grow what you eat and what you grow, confronts Western civilization's brutalization of Lord Krishna's creation. Our mission is to develop Prabhupada's farm projects into exemplary hubs of food productivity, festivity, and joyous congregational growth.
Jai.
There's your mission statement.
That's amazing.
Okay, next. Okay, this is just pointing out who these people are. Go ahead. This is a short history of how the stepping stones to build that capability to preach, strongly. So this is, at the bottom there, it's Radha Swami. He and I traveled for years together as brahmacharis doing cooking classes, which we found to be, for Western people, college students especially, like, they couldn't resist. He's a great cook. And in the early days when we would do these classes, we were both such staunch. We were so staunch in our brahmacharya, memorizing slokas, getting up early, attending every Mongol arti, all that, that when we would hit the college campuses with invitation cards to the Sunday feast, and they would come, we would sit down with them and begin talking Krishna Katha with them. And they were astounded. They were just like stunned that we knew some Sanskrit, all that. Never see him again.
Oh, man.
Done. They have to go and get 6 or 7 more the next day. And the reason was it was just too much philosophy for them. It was just overwhelming. So they appreciated us, and they learned to respect us. But we didn't develop friendship. It wasn't friends. We weren't making friends. But these were the colleges that we went around regularly. We had a regular circle of meetings. Okay, go ahead. This was one of the first Hare Krishna Food for Life programs in America. These are the devotees I worked with in Cleveland, Ohio. We bought 2 postal mail trucks. We painted them up like that, and we hit the streets. It wasn't just a congregate meal site where the same 10 people come in every day. We actually were in the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We went out and took it to them. And this is in the worst ghetto neighborhood in Cleveland, Ward 5, which was dangerous, very dangerous.
What was that?
I'm sorry?
What was the name of
It was called Ward 5.
Ward.
It's broken. The city's broken up.
We got
Wards.
wards, yeah.
This particular ward, I would have guys come up to me as I was distributing prasad, pack and heat. They're carrying a gun with them in daylight.
Yeah.
And they'd say, Monk, we be loving you.
Okay.
You're out here feeding the people. They really like what we were doing. But Monk, don't you be here when the sun go down.
Oh my God.
And that wasn't a threat. They were acting in our.
counseling.
Yeah, they were saying, don't, you shouldn't be here when the sun goes down. One time, when this program, this is the first ever federally funded Meals on Wheels, Prashadam Meals on Wheels in America. Paid for it. I got a $20,000 grant. My mantra for getting this grant from the city council, as I went and sat in the city, I was like book distribution. I went down into the city council meeting rooms, and as the council people would come to their offices, it was like doing the airport book. Hey, Mike, where are you coming in from? We need to talk to you. And I showed them these photographs before we got the grant. And the mantra we used to really convince them that they should invest in us for that grant. We can feed more people healthier food for less money.
Wow.
That worked.
Hey.
That really resonated with them. They were like, whoa, these guys are serious. And we won't take a salary. We didn't take a salary, of course. So this program was dynamic. Eventually we were catering city council meetings and political caucuses.
No way.
With Prashad, yeah.
That's amazing.
They loved us because it was Prashad. One devotee in the Cleveland Temple named Mother Kamagiri was such a great cook. She had it was the Hare Krishna answer to Kentucky Fried Chicken, basically.
Wow.
I won't go into too many details, but it was amazing. They loved it, and big program. Go ahead. That's on the street.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah. That's the kind of public relations we have. In the wintertime, Cleveland's like welcome to hell. In the winter,
Yeah.
It's like in Siberia. The wind comes whipping off the Lake Erie. But I used to push a cart into the projects. These are these 6-story buildings. There's not a tree within 5 miles. There are no grocery stores. Nothing going on. So I would take a cart into the projects, and I had like a paper boy. I had a delivery route. So I would go first floor, 4 or 5 families or individuals. Second floor, third floor. And I had to get out of there before the sun went down.
Oh my God.
One time I had a flat tire on the truck. And I was like, I was in a doggy, right? I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen? And this elderly black man who was deaf and dumb, actually, wonderful man. He saw my predicament. He came over, we changed the tire, we drove 5 miles to a gas station. I got out of there with my life.
Wow.
Go ahead. Okay, this is just some of the public relations that came from USA Today. Krishna's get federal grant to feed the poor. Go ahead. Okay, now back to New Vrindavan. This is Srila Prabhupada, New Vrindavan, 1967. Oh, I'm sorry, 69, you're right. And he's sitting outside the old original 135-acre farm, which was landlocked. You couldn't get to it except by walking. Go ahead. That's a distant view of the original New Vrindavan. Barn, temple building, and there was some housing. Go ahead. Okay, so when we moved to the area we are now, I created a thing called the teaching garden. I went to the management. I said, we got to be honest here. We're further away from self-sufficiency now than we were when I came here in my 20s, early 20s. So let's do something dynamic. Let's make a teaching garden right across from the temple, highly visible. It's spreading that second half message. And don't push this over the hill. In other words, don't make self-sufficiency something that's way over there. You got to drive way over there, 2 miles away on another ridge. Make it centrally located, highly visible, part of our preaching. So here's the result. This is a common scene in that teaching garden. It's only a quarter acre, about the same size as you have at Krishna Light. But that's the kind of flow we had. This particular group is from Guyana. Guyanese.
Wow.
They're wonderful people. They're very kind of playful and joyous, and So anyway, one of the congregational development devotees, Prabhupada, brought this group in. Yeah, he didn't even tell me. He just walks in with all these people, and he's got a bullhorn, got a megaphone, right? And he goes, hands it to me, and he goes, say something. I said, so, you're from Guyana? Yes, Guyana. And in Guyana, you had land, you had cow, you had fresh vegetables, you had clean water. Now, you live in Queens.
Exactly.
You have no land, no cow, no fresh vegetables, no clean water, but lots of money, but you're miserable. They went, yes!
Yes! You are
And I just handed the megaphone back. I said, okay, my point, you know. So afterwards. Okay, next. Okay, so the produce that came out of that teaching garden, I would, you know, it was an ISKCON kitchen, which meant a constant revolving kitchen manager. New kitchen manager every once a month or whatever. God, man, it's like insane. And then new kitchen help. So I have, as the farmer dude, I have to go in there and reinvent myself with a new crew. Hi, I'm Stuff of Food. You know those boxes of produce? That comes from here, River Down, across the street, actually. So what I started doing was taking a lot of the produce into Wheeling, where there's a lot of poverty, huge amount of poverty, and distributing it charitably to soup kitchens, food pantries, and Section 8 housing, which is the government-sponsored low-income housing. Usually, a lot of it's single mom housing. Right? Okay, go ahead. And that morphed into finding vacant lots, public school playgrounds, college campuses, where we began working with a team of people in Wheeling who were becoming Krishna conscious, actually. Putting in gardens. We put in 18 gardens around Wheeling, which is like a disaster zone. It's an old burnt out Rust Belt city where the steel industry pulled out of town and it's dead. The only thing Wheeling creates now is dead people and young people who leave. That's what it exports dead people to cemeteries and young people who leave it because there's no work, right? So here we are, we're like this group of, we call ourselves the Green Wheeling Initiative, right? Unincorporated volunteers putting in gardens all over the place. But where that came from, the launch pad for that was New Redound. In other words, we weren't afraid to mix with social service agencies, academians, elementary school principals, because we had credibility. We had this amazing produce. And I did this for 8 consecutive years. Wow. So I built up, not just me, but I was kind of quarterbacking it. I built up social capital. You know what I mean by social capital?
They're like friends.
Friends. I had people in the local churches, people in city government, people in the colleges, social service agencies, who saw me walk in 30 times a year. This is not a photo op. This is 30 delivery events, independent delivery events with produce to them. And I didn't get all preachy, I didn't get all, we need this, we need that. I just said, hey, we're just interested in improving, making a statement, an impact on public health. Because your budget does not allow you to serve anything healthier than salt. Hamburgers and hot dogs and canned beans, it's a horrible diet. So we want to help change that by adding something fresh and local and organic to and they loved us for that. They were so, because they don't have the budget, they can't do that. We have the land, we have the experience how to grow it, and here we are. We're gonna help you with this. So to give you an example of how that reciprocation works, I was invited to make a vegetable. It was a harvest festival at the local community college in Wheeling, downtown Wheeling. So I put out a table, I put vegetables in a scale in bags, and not a huge event, but it was nice networking. So an elderly lady came up, and she said, she picked her veggies out, I weighed them. She said, how much? I said, I don't know, $6 is good. She said, that's ridiculous. I live in Pittsburgh, this would be $20 organic. in Pittsburgh. I said, well, the reason we price it this way is because we're more interested in making friends and creating community. And she cried. She welled up and tears were coming down her eyes. She was so moved by that. So she said, let me introduce you to my husband. So her husband comes over, we're talking for a minute. 5 minutes into our conversation with her husband, she goes, again, we're standing right in front of the college, right? She goes, by the way, he's the president of the college.
Wow.
So I was like, wow, that was a home run. So was it worth overcharging her, 10 or 15 bucks? No, because as a result of that connection, I began speaking at the college to the culinary arts department. This college, or this particular community college, graduates a lot of future chefs. And what was the talk about? Consciousness in your cooking. And then they would come out to the farm on field day, and I would show them the gardens. It was a great connection, wonderful connection. So, go ahead, next one, please. Okay, so this is management change to New Vrindavan, and I went on to Mississippi for the next 5 years. So this is a photograph of some of the woofers who were coming at that time.
Prabhu,
Yes?
does everybody know what a woofer is? You should
Yeah.
explain.
He did.
He explained live
yes.
us.
Would anybody like
No,
to?
there, other people may not know.
Yeah, many of you don't know what a woofer is. It's a certain species of life that. Okay, woofer is an acronym which means Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. It's basically, it's like a dating service. It's like you put your profile up if you're looking for a farming opportunity to learn organic farming or organic gardening. And you pay for that. You pay $41 to get into that site. And then the farmers, the organic farmers, don't pay anything, but they post who they are. Here's where we are, here's what we grow, here's the kind of help we need, like that. So, woofers are people who contact you then and say, I really like your operation, may I come? So as I mentioned, the first 3 years in Utah, we had 130 of those people coming. In fact, could somebody grab that the one that says profile for Farm Bhaktas? Yeah. Okay. Let me just read this briefly to you. This was the thing. This is what appeared when the woofer saw our site, Krishna Conscious, ISKCON, New Taliban, Small Farm Training Center thing. Here's what they heard when they read. It said, the Small Farm Training Center is a 6-acre organic veggie operation surrounded by 1,200 acres of rolling southern Mississippi pasture and forest lands. Approximately 60 miles north of New Orleans, we are not the organic orthodoxy. That is, not just another local food operation struggling for a competitive market edge. We're unique by design. Most of the community members you'll bump into are lifelong vegetarians, no meat, fish, or eggs, mainly because preaching or protecting animals, especially cows, plays a central role in our approach to sustainable living. In fact, we hand milk 5 heifers twice a day. Much of our produce is marketed in small towns where access to our authentic organic veggies means a long trek. What we don't sell is distributed charitably to soup kitchens and food pantries. Because growing organically in a subtropical region, we're about 20 miles north of Gulf of Mexico, is rife with challenges, we tell our students not to stress out about technique. Technique differs from bioregion to bioregion according to weather patterns, soil, etc. What we want you to take away from your experience here is a mature, rounded outlook on what it means to seriously consider mini farming as a career path and lifestyle. What you're looking for is food independence, Your farming skills must be complemented by cooking skills and marketing savvy. And if what you're longing for is community, you have to become relevant and responsive to the food mosaic in your local neighborhood. Food security is no joke. Food security will become the defining principle of how society is reorganized, reshaped, and re-spiritualized around love and trust. And there's one more subject you can explore during your stay, the gift of transcendental knowledge. Because spotlighting the materials and methodology needed for successful organic growing, besides spotlighting the materials and methods, we offer guidance in why farming for the right spiritual reasons is a critical component to the puzzle of life. Early morning classes, Srimad Bhagavatam, drawn from the ancient Sanskrit literatures of India, shed light on the philosophical underbelly of actual sustainable development. When hands-on fieldwork is complemented by pure intent, the whole picture approach to sustainability comes into focus. Small Farm Training Center Office Hub is a beehive of activity which includes high-speed internet access to a library, stocked with ag classics, a mini movie theater, a big dinner table, and lots of interesting people with whom you can share stories, break bread, and laugh at the challenge of trying to fix a really broken food system. That's what they read. So when they would come in groves, and then I'd ask them, thank you. I say, why did you come here? You had 2,500 choices. They go, you're on a mission. We picked up on that mission. That's the difference. Okay, next. These are some of the folks who came. There, two of them are from Cuba. And there's, again, John. He's, I don't know what he's doing there. He was supposed to be doing something else there, but we tolerated him. Go ahead. These are woofers from Wisconsin, Ukraine, and South Africa. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead. That's what I just read. Our woof profile. Go ahead. Okay, that's some of the production that we're doing. That's lettuce production mostly. Go ahead. Of course, curriculum. In other words, we saw this as an opportunity, not just grunt work in a garden, a big mini farm, really. But hey, while you're here, well, you want to learn something about Ayurveda? You want to learn something about these other issues? Well, we can offer a curriculum on that. Go ahead. From the deities to the devotees, and like that. Congregate meal sites, local churches, food pantries, small town buying clubs, local farmers markets, custom deliveries. In other words, this is the beginning. This is the economic network that makes Varnashram an economic reality. Sometimes people say ISKCON is like, or society in general is like a body without a head. There's no brahminical leadership. But then again, ISKCON is like a head without a body. Where is the economic interdependence that makes us responsive to this most valuable this most valuable thing that everybody does every day, eating? Go ahead. This is some of the charitable distribution. These are the Meals on Wheels programs. In the South, of course, greens are a big deal. People love eating greens, so that was kind of our focus.